Yeah.
All right. Are we ready to kick this pig?
Let's try this again.
That poor pig.
Right? Why do you have to do that?
I'm sorry. Are we ready to start the show?
Yeah, that's better.
All right,
I mean, it's delicious. You're ruining the bacon.
Welcome to Everyone Racers,
a show designed for the world of low-dollar racing and oddball car culture.
It doesn't matter what kind of limit champ or lucky track dog league you run.
SCCA or NASA, we won't discriminate.
As long as you drive it hard and built it yourself.
Join us each week for tech discussions, tips,
tricks, as well as news and notes from the world of amateur endurance racing.
And whether it's on the spot, hella sweet, or we're lucky enough, and Chrissy,
and I give you just the tip.
We're sure you'll giggle a little and learn even less.
Everyone report to the paddock.
This is Chris.
This is Chrissy.
Sorry, it's still playing. It was almost.
Yep.
I'm Jeff. And that's Curt.
I'm Curt.
We'll get to you in a second. Hey, and we are Everyone Racers. Welcome to a Hanomag Halftrack episode of our podcast. This is episode 251, and if you have ever seen a World War II movie or saw a German armored personnel carrier with two front wheels and tank-like tracks in the back, it was probably an SDKFZ 251 built by the German company Hanomag. The same design was used all over the Iron Curtain after the war, so Czechoslovakia made a bunch of them. They're all out there. They're all everywhere. So if you've ever seen like any war movie that has a half track driven by anybody that's not an American, it's probably a Hanomag.
Now we learned something.
I did not know that. Thank you.
Yeah. So, hey, if you aren't invading a sovereign nation or stockpiling nukes to create mutually assured destruction, check out our E1R bingo card. Link is in the show notes. And if you get bingo, this is a special. I'm calling this out right now. You might get to peek under our guest kilt or taste his butt. So get bingo, take a picture, send it in.
Now I'm excited.
What you working on? Chrissy, you can start it.
Hold on. Okay, hold on. Is that?
Hold on. What?
Nope. Is it working? Okay.
What?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Cord came out. Okay. Anyway, I have been working on my tan and some training. We were at the Cape this weekend. I actually did a lot of house things too. I know Chris wrote this for me, but I cleaned an oven that hasn't been cleaned in 20 years, maybe. It was very nice of me. Yeah, did a whole bunch of things around the house, and I've been trying to finish a bunch of training classes that will make me like sufficient at my job. So I just have to get through them, and I literally do not have a single second to do them at my desk. So I had to do them in the car, which is great. If you have 7 hours in the car, you might as well just do some training. So I am now HasWhopper trained, in case you wanted to know.
What is that? HasWhopper?
HasWhopper.
HasWhopper?
Like
Yes.
I has a Whopper and a 40?
It is not like that at all.
Oh.
It is about cleaning up hazardous waste sites.
I like my version better.
Sure. Well, it doesn't take you literally 24 hours. It's a 24-hour course to eat a Whopper and a 40. So yes. Anyway, that one's done. I still have one more to do, and that will be great. But at least this is what I would have really helped me if I had it my third day of work, to learn out how to deal with an acid spill in my job. So now I know.
Baking soda, right? Is that the answer?
It was very much too much. 55 gallons and then some all over the ground. So that's a lot of baking soda. We do have plenty of that around, but not in this. It's usually a little worse than that. Anyway, that's enough about me. Curt, what are you up to?
Are we going to Curt with usually Mental writes like a one sentence intro?
It's true, but he was next in blue, so that's why I just went to him.
Guest host Curt from Terminally Confused, a man of many guns, lots of butts, a little bit of no pants. There's no pants in that house. I don't know what's going on. Curt, say hi. Tell us what you're working on.
Well, hello all. So what we've been working on, it's quite a mixed bag of things, is been working on a water leak here at the house. We cleaned the garage a few months back and discovered behind all the toolboxes there was a bunch of water damage. And so they came out and they looked at it and cut open a bunch of sheetrock and told us they had it figured out. And we paid like $5,000 to
Oh,
like replace all of the copper piping under the house and all of the downstairs, only to find out that wasn't the leak.
Oh.
When we took the vanity out of the bathroom adjacent to that wall 4 years ago, there must have been a screw going through the wall into the drain pipe.
Oh no.
So it was still leaking. So they just got that fixed today. And now we get to start the process of looking for a contractor to replace all the joists and everything else that are water rotted and everything from 4 years of fluids, but fun times. But
where is what state or region of the country is this house located? I know, I'm just asking because I have a follow-up question.
Yeah, today we're in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Yeah, so it's a little humid there and warm, right? So
Yes.
mold is a thing, right?
Yeah, fortunately we don't see any of that. But we'll see.
I don't think you need to see it to have it.
Yes, this is
Spray a little
true.
bleach while you're in there. It'll be all right.
Yeah. But we're gonna actually get a contractor to come out because the actual footer boards, the joists that are supporting that structural wall of the house are actually damaged and rotting and stuff where it's been wet for 4 years.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah.
So yeah, fun times. Other than that, been doing some gunsmithing, prepping a car to sell to Craig for his kid.
That's fun.
Yeah. So I've been putting a few minor fixes on that because I've been told that we have too many cars. So gonna
Don't
get
we
rid of
all?
this one and get something else.
So
So it's
even
just-
trade in the end doesn't reduce. If N is too many,
We
N
don't need to
minus
talk about
one.
these things.
Checking.
Yes.
checking.
So
-1 +1.
This one's
Yes.
really big, and then the other
Yeah.
one's smaller.
Well-
Then it's
well-
less mass.
I'm actually going to be selling a 2002 Audi A4 Quattro. So all-wheel
Good.
drive, 6-speed manual V6. Going to be selling that. It's got 167,000 miles on it. It's already had the
Perfect.
timing belt and everything done. I picked the car up for $1,500, put about $1,500 work into it, and I'm going to sell it to Craig for the $3,000. And I think he's giving it to a kid. So
I mean, they have to learn that adversity is part of life. So
and giving
driving
them
an
a
old Audi
full-
is
exactly.
yeah.
a great way to do
Well, I'm
so.
telling you, I learned I will never again own an Audi when I had to remove the tower strut bar to change the battery.
I was going to say a great present to go along with that car is a multimeter.
Yes.
Like,
And an OBD2.
like here's a multimeter.
OBD2
You're
You
going to
need
need
a
that.
VAG com for
Yeah.
everything.
yes.
Well, I hate to take up all the time now, but I can actually tell you about what was wrong with the car when we get down to another section.
All right, well, we'll get
All
there.
right, sounds
sure.
good.
Chris, what you working on?
House stuff at the Cape, like Cape houses, especially the small little
Oh,
cottage ones.
I think we're talking about moisture again, aren't we?
No, this is not moisture, but
Okay.
Cape houses they tend to have things done, especially older, like in not the best way. Like as I found in taking the wiring panel apart to replace it, because when they wired the water heater for this house, it's a little cottage behind the house. The water heater power line, the Romex, was run outside, like it was from the power box, then outside the house and through a hole in the wall to the water heater. And with nothing on it, nothing covering it, just there. But since 1973, that apparently decided it's going to occasionally trip. So I was trying to rewire it. And when I was in there, I found several other things that were done inappropriate, like 12 gauge Romex put onto a 50 amp breaker. And that's not going to work out. So, fixing things like that. What else? Fix an ice maker. I had a never ending battle with an ice maker, only to find that the prior plumber had put 2 of the hoses on the wrong fittings. So that was great. After I already bought all the
replacing
parts,
a bunch
I
of parts.
replaced a bunch of them, and they didn't have an ice maker for a month and a half. Anyway, but it works great now.
But the one we borrow from you, the
Yes,
one
yes.
that they used it. We had left it in the house
yeah.
and we used it for the last 2 months.
The little Walmart countertop
Yeah.
one
Yep.
that we use for races for drink ice.
It
Yeah.
was great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
I found I don't remember what the website is. It's like applianceparts.com or something like that. I'm not going to
Repair Clinic is usually great.
Repair
for
Clinic.
appliance
Repair Clinic.
stuff.
That's exactly the one that I use. They have the greatest like exploded diagrams for like selling the parts, and I can usually like hey, what does that thing do? Read the name. Oh, okay, that might be it. That's
Mhm.
done me very well when I needed to fix.
And that's what I followed that solution. I was right. I thought there's something wrong with this valve. There was something wrong with the valve. It was plugged in wrong. So yeah. Anyway, that's fixed. I failed to fix an old Evinrude outboard that I had that ran great when I pulled it off my sailboat in 2009 and hadn't moved since. It just wouldn't
We
stay
did
running.
sell it though.
Yeah, the water pump wasn't working, then we should just cut the price and sit here as is. It runs, but these are the problems. And
After
so someone-
Facebook Marketplace, which Chris does not believe in Facebook unless he needs to sell something, then he has his personal seller to sell said item.
and it was only mildly annoying
It's true.
this time. Like could be a lot worse. It's amazing the people that respond to your ad and then ask you the questions that are exactly in the ad, like including like, oh, can I have a video? There's one in the ad, dumbass. Thanks. That's right. Who knew? That guy did not get back to me after I pointed out all these things are in the ad. And did some more Corvette stereo wiring. That process takes a really long time, especially when we haven't been here.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
But it was our holiday weekend, so I didn't hear anything from you about any fireworks or anything like
No.
that.
No. Nothing exciting
Chrissy,
happened this
no
time.
fireworks, no nothing.
No firework
obviously
accidents.
You two were together, so I'm
Yeah.
No, not much. I mean, we had a cookout and, we had plenty of lobster and just normal stuff. I just figured unless it's something great, I don't have to tell people. So
That's fine. That's fine. I just
I also didn't
checking.
hassle you.
I just wanted to clarify. You said normal stuff and lobster in the same sentence. Was that
I mean,
accurate?
Well,
when from
yeah,
New England,
Yeah.
you have to have
exactly.
lobster.
Yeah, I
On
need
the
to come
beach in
visit.
Massachusetts.
The
They were
thing.
really good this time. They were packed full of meat. So
And they,
tasty.
they were on sale. So our expectations were really low. Not that they weren't good. It's just that they were small. So we weren't, sometimes you end up with.
Sometimes you get a lot more shell than you get meat.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Well, I had a pretty good crab and shrimp boil myself at my
Oh.
house, so we had a good time. This was the combined 4th of July, Father's Day, my son's 14th birthday extravaganza at my house. So there was, a couple of days of cleaning every surface, moving everything out of the way. And then everybody came to my house and we had all kinds of seafood and it was great. This is all obviously COVID delays because of caught COVID at the last race. Thanks to whoever brought it. But so that's what we're doing. So I snuck a day in the 3-day weekend and I cleaned the heck out of my garage. Now, don't get excited. That doesn't mean I have a clean garage.
Yeah. Yeah. The first time it was ever cleaned is the day after you bought the house. That was the last time. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. So there is room to get in and out, and there is a little bit of room to work, and there is
A little bit of room.
a lot of stuff that went to the trash. The metal guy was very excited.
That's great. Congratulations. We shouldn't.
Yay.
We shouldn't.
No, we should
shouldn't put you-
support.
we
these-
shouldn't
this-
put you down.
Yeah. I don't know. Well,
Baby steps.
Yes, baby steps.
Baby steps.
So the problem is still that our house just has no storage. So there's just it.
And you have too much crap.
Yes. Yes. Moving from a much larger house to a much smaller house.
Still have a lot of crap.
Mhm.
Yeah. And old guys keep giving me their crap. That's part of the problem. And it's really hard to say
You're
no.
full
to
of
that.
excuses.
It's really hard to say no to that giant box of old tools all the time when they're like, Jeff, I really want you to have this. Like, damn it. Anyway,
Hey,
so I
that
did
one
that.
can of spray paint came in handy. And a match.
Exactly.
You never know.
Anyway, it was really hot here, so the big thing was trying not to die of the heat. So that's it. That's what I was doing.
Don't die.
Oh, we're out in the boat.
Yeah.
Yep.
I did get in
Okay.
the pool, so that was nice.
News and notes.
I'll start it out. Doug DeMuro, YouTube car deity, semi-deity, automotive journalist. I'm not sure he really writes anymore. The brain behind the auction automotive site Cars and Bids just posted on all of his social medias that he is seeing the first sign of the crazy car price bubble shrinking. I wouldn't say popping. Here I will summarize. he wrote he's been seeing many of he sets all the reserve prices on Cars and Bids, by the way. And he says that it's been interesting that the market seems to be slowing down from its peak and many sellers aren't ready to accept it. And he said there are 4 things he's really finding. Sellers are showing him old ads from like 10, 16 months ago and being like, that's the price I need. And he's like, no, it's not going to happen these days. And then there are a bunch of sellers who he rejected because he thought their reserve was too high 3 to 6 months ago. And now they're coming back because they tried to sell it for that price and it didn't sell. So now they're panicking saying, oh, you said you would do it for this reserve. He's like, nope, that reserve was 6 months old. It's not going to cut it these days. So then the other thing he's saying is that there's a lot of people trying to sell who bought at the peak who owe more money than the car is currently worth, which, that's normal, I guess. You have a car for a year or two. I mean, not Chris. Chris tends to buy at the bottom of the curve, but most people understand that depreciation happens and that if you own a car for a year or two, it's not going to be worth more. He ends it with, based on his recent sales, the car market is still stronger than it was, quote, in the old days before the recent bubble, but it's absolutely dropped from its peak. This is doubly true for gas guzzlers like big SUVs, Land Cruisers, modded Jeeps, G-Wagons, etc. Dropping prices is good for buyers, but he says, quote, I think the sellers need to start adjusting their mindset to the new reality. Link in the show notes. Actually, it's just on his Facebook. Go find it, Doug DeMuro. Not gonna link it.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Those of us who watched the F1 race at Silverstone this weekend saw a great race. Like just start to finish. It was
just such a great race.
Oh my gosh. The whole time you're just like, how this is getting better. And the last 10 minutes, just what?
Amazing.
What? The whole thing was just awesome. So they also saw the somewhat hated Halo save another driver. This time was Chinese Zhou Guangyu, very scary. Alfa Romeo flipped over only seconds into the race in turn 1. But what you probably didn't see, and you might have heard about, is the 6 environmental protesters who jumped the fence in orange jumpsuits to look like the corner workers and sat on the racing service in the Wellington Straight, which is one of the fastest parts of the course. Corner workers and security quickly got them up. I don't know about quickly.
They got there quickly. I don't know if they got them off quickly.
They did not get them off quickly. Everybody that was there still, they got them off a little bit, but there's plenty of videos shared everywhere. F1. So the F1 cars are literally driving past the people sitting on the racing surface. Red flag may have saved the lives of these protesters with or without the turn 1 incident. The FIA and race control may have had a reason to stop the race anyway at speed. Could have been a total tragedy. The video is so scary. I was watching it before we started. So crazy. Crazy to think that anybody could even get to the racing surface knowing security, but
yeah, I guess if you really don't care about your life, you can get on that track,
I guess
like it's designed to stop the car from hitting you,
right?
Not really stopping you from.
Well, I would have thought that, especially
cars.
It's not just a street circuit, right? Like it's a well-established track that they're trying to keep people out, just like a stadium, just like, you try to keep people out of the places that they probably shouldn't be in sometimes. But anyway, there, I'm sure we'll have a link, especially this YouTube was pretty crazy. It's footage from people in the stands, and the people in the stands are pissed.
Booing.
No, they're booing, but then they start like cursing, and their people are just like screaming at them.
British though, so are they really cursing, or
they were. Wanka. No, halfway through the video, they were cursing. So
the British have made cursing its own little art form. The way they do it.
But
my mother is English. I'll be happy to share some of that with you off pod.
All right.
Wow. Fortunately, she wasn't sitting on the racetrack this weekend because it was pretty darn scary. So, I think we heard about it in passing, but didn't realize.
You did not even mutter a word about it on the broadcast.
Yeah, it's true.
and they had a lot. There was some in-car footage.
Yeah.
I was doing
Signs
the
called him a long name.
when I was searching for this to have links, it was hard to find the links that were because a lot of the UK news people have covered it, but they won't allow the video to stream in America. So I had to find it off of YouTube from directly from the people. That's why that one is there. So
Yeah, no, it's definitely some unfortunate views. I was going to say good views, but shows exactly what happened, but unfortunate.
Yep. Okay. So it's summertime. Boating is great. And racingjunk.com even has boats. And some of them are prices that are low enough that supports silly ideas. So what I've got here, this is an 11-foot tunnel hull single seater with a 50 horsepower Evinrude. I'm trying to share my screen here. That's the one. This thing has bad decisions written all over it. There's only one picture, unfortunately, but it's definitely got a Tasmanian devil airbrushed on the bow. It's definitely a catamaran. It's definitely custom 50 horse Evinrude. I mean,
what did you call this? A tunnel hull?
Yeah, where it's open in the middle.
Okay.
So it's a catamaran.
Like a catamaran, but it's not.
Right.
It's one physical piece.
And
It just has
the
two...
sides, like the very ends, are they airbrushed too?
Yeah, look, well, it's like got a multi-layer paint job on this thing. Like this thing, someone put some real effort into. And the guy says it's got it's set up like a drag boat. It's got forward, neutral, and reverse on the floor and controls for tilt and trim on the steering wheel. So
And this is local to us. Did you plan this?
No, well, I said that looks cool, and I saw it is in Pennsylvania. It's got a trailer, and it's $5,000. It's like that's enough for. Well, that's a really terrible idea.
That's enough to take a shot or to take a ride to see it. At least.
Yeah, I mean, up your life insurance. But
yeah, right, if you don't want to die.
How many horsepower? What was that? A 50 horsepower?
A 50 horsepower Evinrude.
That's almost
on an
worth
11
the price.
on an 11-foot boat. That's okay. That'll move.
A good running 50 horse Evinrude is probably half that price anyway, right?
I don't know.
Depending on how old, yeah, I guess.
That it seems like a good way to waste time and think about your death wish a little harder.
That's
I mean,
fantastic.
it's a little it's a little
Fun.
seems like it might be a nice idea.
Seems like fun.
Seems like
Okay.
fun.
Hell, Mental would do it.
Yeah,
he would.
He would, yeah.
would.
He lives in the desert. He
I
can
was gonna
sit
say,
in the
there's
sand.
Even the big lake out there is drying up, right?
Yeah, like Mead. It's almost gone.
It's an 11-foot boat. Put it in the pool.
Not wrong.
You're not wrong.
Upcoming races. The World Racing League is at Road Atlanta. We love Road Atlanta. 65 entries. Good number for the WRL. This is rated in their heart, I think. 27 BMWs, 18 Porsches.
Boring.
Oh, wait, you ready for the non-boring?
Boring.
2 Aston Martins. Both Vantages. How's that?
I mean, they're very pretty, but damn.
In the slowest class, one looks like it's fully prepped, like was a race car, and one of them looks like it was a converted street car. In the slowest class, there's a 2019 Hyundai Veloster R-Spec. That's not the N. It's like the 197, 205 horsepower, whatever it is. And it will be facing off against the 944s and Boxsters and FRSs. And someone registered a 2002 Trans Am Dodge. One word, Trans Am Dodge.
All three of those are Trans Am Dodge.
No.
Yep.
2002
good.
Trans Am, one word, not
Oh.
trans-an.
Okay.
Dodge. Don't
Yep.
know what it means.
It's Georgia. I mean, that kind of thing just happens, Oh man.
I have to assume this is some sort of refugee from the Trans Am Racing series. But I don't think in 2002, I couldn't even tell you what they were running in 2002.
Dodge Neons, maybe?
That's what I'm saying. Like, oh, well, whatever.
Avengers. It's definitely Avengers.
Yeah. There it is. That's the upcoming racing.
Okay.
Do we have any
Chrissy?
racing results?
Okay. No, we're going right on to listener feedback.
All right.
We gave Jimmy G, an Air Force veteran, some flashbacks. When Jeff said total quality management, I glared at the car stereo screen just in time for Mental to say, all my AF friends just threw up.
Is that on fleek friends or Air Force friends? Probably. By the way, I'm going to look to see if Jimmy G is in my contacts in my phone. Since our phone contacts merged.
A social disease.
Randomly.
It probably is. He won't be listed under his real name. It'll be like Jimmy the Fleek or something.
Smarty man.
J. Dana M also dropped some feedback. Upcoming races you have to cover. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to hear 29 BMWs.
Oh,
Boring.
Recent results can be shortened tremendously by just saying boring BMW won the race and the Porsche came in second. It's true.
Yep.
Yeah.
Adam M also let us know that we can shorten the race results too, but added, you have no idea how many despondent days of wrenching solo on a hella broken race car between races has been brightened by hearing 3 p.m. tales of woe or success in the background. Aw, thanks, Adam.
And 2 shows back, Justin W said, Jeff from Ranger Road is amazing. We agree. And the whole Ranger Road organization is worth your attention.
Very nice. You should get involved with those people. You sound like you could take those guys out and have a good time.
All right. You know who could probably give those guys a good time with all of our cookies?
I was thinking the same
Cookies.
thing. I was like, how do I clean this up? How do I get
Because
out
of
this?
cookies. They are all going to
Exactly.
enjoy eating those cookies thanks to Chrissy's mom. And
Like
those
Chrissy's
guys
mom.
Those guys deserve some cookies. That's it.
I've been
Gosh,
waiting
you're-
years to be able to say that on pod.
Oh,
Yeah.
thanks.
Your dirty
Years.
minds.
You
went the
should have just
wrong way.
invited yourself. We would have had you years ago. You didn't need to wait.
We've talked about this before, and then schedules didn't work out, and then
That's true,
life
that's
gets in
true.
the way. Yeah.
So yeah, we have to. Are we allowed to say your last name? Are we Curt M or are we?
I don't care.
Okay. Curtis Matthews, Lemons Racer. I don't even know what you do for a living. I know you're retired at one point in your career and life. So why don't you introduce yourself as the principal of Terminally Confused Lemons Racing Team, former competitive
principal.
barbecuer. What else haven't you done? Gunsmith.
Ooh.
We learned. Very excited. Tell us who you are.
Listen,
Welcome, Curt.
everything.
Yeah, I'm old, so I've done lots of things. What I do for a living is I'm in the IT industry. I used to be a black hat, and then moved over to, the positive side of that blue line. And now I work for a company called Red Hat, and I actually manage a lot of their services work
Wow.
for the DoD.
Hence Tux, the penguin behind you.
Yes.
You work for Red Hat. I didn't realize you worked for the giant
Yes.
penguin Arctic bird behind you.
Yes.
And
So
when
I-
you say you are a black hat, it's not all of our listeners will understand that. I
Okay.
for a sec don't.
So I was a hacker, more of the malicious variety. So, just
They learn how to go against what they're trying to do, right?
Yes.
Yes.
But you did that not for yourself for fame and glory, but you did that for the I'm
well,
sorry, we can't even mention government agency not to be named. Was that
Yeah.
correct?
Well, no, I started on the other side, on the black side, and now I'm more on the white side. But
For those of you who don't know, my favorite thing is to, and basically it's you and Hamza, is just try and talk you into a corner of, hey man, what did you used to do? And watch the mental gymnastics as you bounce around.
there was this bank in 1992. Yeah, that's a longer story than we
But
want
we
to
don't
get
need to get
into.
into that fully. I'm just-
But
so that's great. We currently do IT stuff through Red Hat for the DoD. That's awesome.
yes, I actually manage all the services for the Air Force, the Navy, and the Marine Corps.
Cool. Can you help Mental wherever he is? His computer is not allowed to see our Google Drive.
I'm not allowed to write prescriptions, so I don't know as if I could help mental.
It's like, my area just got more secure. I'm not allowed to touch the show notes until I get home.
Well, for the record, I did some of the work on those bases that he was working on.
It's your fault.
Yeah.
I figured.
Yeah. So, and then other things I do, I started racing in 2010, started in Lemons. I've done a little bit of other stuff, done some instructing, guns. I'm big into guns, and I actually do some shooting competition stuff. I was on the Pro Barbecue Tour sponsored by Big Green Egg for a period of time back in the day. So yeah, I've been around, done a few things. The most important things to this podcast are probably race cars and my tasty butt.
No, it's all
Mhm.
important. We love it all.
Yeah.
Everyone
It's
loves
true.
the butt.
That's
Everyone loves
true.
the butt, yeah. So we have joked about the butt for a very long time and how big your butt is and how many people get to lick it while they're at a race. And this is because many times, how many times have you hosted a barbecue big enough to feed basically the entire paddock?
Ooh, it's hard to say. Probably 10 or more different cooks.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we started doing it. Well, if you go all the way back to 2010, we actually bribed with barbecue at our first race. And they opened the box, they looked at it, they handed it back, and they said, "Thank you, but we're good." And
Wow.
then
They
yeah,
made a mistake.
What's wrong with
Yes,
those
they
people?
did.
yeah, well, Judge Phil may have been there. But it was a couple of years later, we did kind of a big enough cook just for our team and our two teams at the time, and then we offered to feed the staff and everything, and they came over and they got a taste of it, and it kind of went off the rails from there. The next one we planned to feed approximately 100 people, so we set it up more, we advertised it a little bit, and we decided, hey, we'll give it a shot. And we probably had at least 100 people still in line when we ran out of food.
Oh,
I think the most we've ever fed is in excess of 350 people at one event.
Wow. That's a lot.
So
wow. Yeah, and
yes.
you actually came up and cooked for us at one rate. When what was that? Was that what we had the Rolls Royce?
That was
that
springtime for Hitler.
Springtime for
weekend.
Oh,
Hitler.
it was springtime
Yes.
for Hitler. Oh,
Yeah,
that
I
was
will
a fun
never
one.
forget. I still have my armband.
Very nice.
Yep.
Don't wear that around town. That's not a good
I
idea.
don't.
It needs a little bit of a story.
It
Yeah,
has a
yeah.
3 p.m. logo on it, but it is
It
not.
does.
It still is not.
From a distance, it
It looks. Yeah.
yes.
looks right.
It's in a
Don't-
box
don't
of
s-
memorabilia.
Good.
Yes,
It's a good
that's
place for it.
place for it.
And what were you on the tour, the barbecue tour at this time, or had you already left the barbecue tour?
No, we left the barbecue tour back in the early 2000s, actually. The guy I was on the tour with, he actually had to sell off a bunch of gear due to some family medical stuff. And so we got out of it then. Craig and I have toyed with the idea of kicking it back up and trying it again. I don't know. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of money. We're both busy. So the amount of money we spend and the amount of effort that goes into even a barbecue event at the track is sizable. So
Yeah,
it's
I could imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it firsthand when I've been down racing with you guys, and it is a lot of effort goes into that. Like forget about the car things. We got to do this barbecue, and that's taking up all day
Yeah.
and all this stuff. That's where the effort goes.
Yeah.
And we've complicated it even more recently. So we've added in brisket to the mix. So at the most recent CMP event, we actually did 2 whole briskets, as well as, I don't know, we did 10 or 12 Boston butts as well. So like 140, 150 pounds of meat. But now all day Friday and Saturday, there's briskets cooking, and starting Friday night, all the barbecues cooking until Saturday night. And so it's 2 full days of cooking.
Yeah.
That's
But
a
then-
lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Like
worth
I
it
said.
though.
Yeah. I before we leave all of this barbecue and get just to the racing stuff, tell me just a little bit about the competitive barbecue circuit. So I've seen it on TV, and I have no idea how close that is to reality. But basically, it seems like there is a panel of judges, and you are delivering some very specific dishes to them. You must make an A, a B, and a C, and you give it to them.
Yes.
Or did you have a specialty? Like, how does it exactly work?
So we actually competed with the Kansas City Barbecue Society, so KCBS. And in order to compete in those, you have to cook 4 categories of meat. So you have to cook pork barbecue, which can either be butts or shoulders, picnics, whatever you want to call them.
Whatever
But that's
cut
it.
of pork
Yep.
barbecue you want. Yep.
Then you have to cook pork ribs. They can be spares, baby back, whichever. You have to cook brisket, and you have to cook chicken. So, and you have to deliver, usually for like chicken, it's 8 pieces. For brisket, it's 8 slices. But we would cook 48 to 60 pieces of chicken to serve 8 to the judges.
To serve the best, because that's the way you
Yes.
win.
Because and it's also, it gets a lot deeper into how you trim the meats. So you cut we did chicken thighs when we did chicken, and you always trim the chicken so there's only really 2 logical places to take a bite, so you can control which bite they're taking. Then obviously the briskets, we cook 2 whole briskets to get 8 slices of brisket to turn in, because you're looking at getting the exact right smoke ring and things like that. Now, this is all great and fine and dandy, and people are like, oh my gosh, you're wasting so much food. No, I am fat for a reason. What we don't serve them, we get to eat.
Yeah, you get to eat. So yeah, the food doesn't get
Yes.
thrown out; it just gets eaten by the non-judge people.
Then you get the
of the
meat
competition.
sweats. They're
Yes.
so
Yep.
delicious.
And never trust a skinny chef. Because if they're not trying to eat more and more of their food, it's not as good as it could be yet.
Oh, all right.
Good point. Good point. So all right, so you did this for a while, and then you became racing, and you started racing. We should mention, because this is an automotive podcast, I guess. What was the first car? What got you to Lemons?
So the first car was a Civic, of course, because everybody should buy somebody else's busted Honda Civic to race in Lemons. One that's already been in Lemons, obviously, so it's already ready to get through tech and stuff. All you got to do is put gas in it and go racing.
That's what they tell you when they sell it.
Yeah. So when we rolled into tech at our first race, which happened to be at CMP in 2010,
Kinda
we rolled
your home
in.
track, right?
Yeah. And they handed us back 2 pages worth of things we needed to correct on the car before it could go racing.
Oh no.
Yes. And we were mildly overwhelmed, but thanks to another race team, and y'all may know them, may remember them. They haven't been around in a while, but Stupid But Tough Racing. They raced the big pink Homer Simpson's car with the Homer Simpson head on the roof.
Oh yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they came over and they were like, so rough tech, huh? And they started talking us through it and helping us through it and helping us bring in the right people. And we took we took the green flag the next morning. So we managed to get everything sorted. And that really kind of set the stage for how Craigers being the principal of Terminally Confused, and I'm his minion, I guess. I don't know. But we that's really set the stage. So we're out there, we're trying to help people, we're trying to pay that forward, because we've had a lot of opportunity to do so. Craig gets to do it in the welding world and stuff. I feed people, and my other job is I pick things up and I put them down. So
It's a very important job.
Wait.
yes,
We have
It
a guy
hap-
on the team. His job is to bring mass sometimes.
my job for your team was that once. I believe that was the 1st time I had ever met y'all.
Yeah, Civic got rear-ended, and Craigers brought you over and said, "Oh, this is Curt. Get him and a real long pry bar. This will get straight." Yep, it's about right.
Yeah. So
So that was
Yeah.
your first Civic.
that was our first Civic, yes. And we went through. We've had a few Civics. There's
As one does.
yes, and there was a CRX in there somewhere, and then most recently a Del Slow. because it's just never been a dull soul. It's always been too slow for that. But it's a great car. It's a fun drive. And then most recently, what's being worked on now is the magic spinning triangles.
Oh,
Oh.
There's
I
a
didn't realize
Mazda.
they all-
It's gone really well for us.
yeah.
Yeah, I know.
What parts do you need?
Well, we have a 2005 Mazda RX-8
Oh,
that we purchased for $500 from a friend of ours who had just gotten tired of it leaving him stranded. So we put a $6 clutch part on the car, and the car was good to go, drivable and everything. And then before he had a chance to change his mind, we ripped out the interior, drew on the outside with Sharpies and stuff so we could turn it into a race car.
that's great. See, now I knew you had an RX-8. I thought you were not planning to run the triangles.
Oh, Kreggers
thought-
and I are going to go blow up that motor.
Yeah. Yeah, you're on
Yeah.
the same plan I am.
It won't take
or
that
we
long.
were. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just gonna let you know.
Yeah.
I have never popped a motor ever in my days. No, not once.
Neither have I.
Craig pops them all.
Oh, okay.
I
He's got
wanna be the-
needles for fingers. He pops
wanna be-
all the bubbles.
yes, I want to be the first one to drive the RX-8 so he doesn't get all the joy.
There you go.
Yep.
No, is it LS swap bound? Are you gonna look at a K swap? What are you gonna do?
We've talked a little about the Honda stuff. We've actually talked about doing like a TDI swap
Oh,
and
that
doing a
would be
turbo diesel swap.
interesting.
We've also talked about trying to figure out how to gimbal mount a Moto Guzzi engine in it.
Yeah, that sounds terrible. That's the one
Yeah.
you should do.
What?
Yeah. I mean, a Mazda RX-8, a 2005 Mazda RX-8 in C-Class. Can you imagine the minds that would be melted? It would be glorious.
So many arms
Hands
flying.
yes. So many.
So many.
Wailing and gnashing.
Oh
of
my
teeth.
gosh.
And then
Yep.
I'm taking it to every SCCA event.
Yes, yes. I think your average like 1100cc Moto Guzzi motor, I don't know if they even come in 1100. I just picked not the big one. Probably has just as much torque as the Renesis. So
Might be more.
yeah, might be more. Yeah, exactly. But the horsepower is probably going to be a little different. I think this is a fantastic idea. I think you left out EcoTech and the venerable 3800 GM as possible motor swaps. But other than that, you've covered all the corners.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, we're undecided. We have yet to finish caging this car so we can go blow up the first motor. And then we'll get into the
we get
process
that.
of doing that.
Yeah.
So
We just didn't think it was gonna go that fast.
yeah.
We thought we had a race or two.
We have no expectations of a race or two. We loved it when y'all got the RX because we're like, okay, now we're gonna see how this really goes. and
Oh, your expectations.
The over and under would have been close between the two of us because it was like one stint or half a stint, you know.
Oh, wow.
I got a whole testing day. And
I was going to say
Yeah.
Friday it went all day.
Yeah,
And it
see,
was great.
we
Not all
did
day.
not.
We got half a day.
Yeah, we did
Christmas
not
for a
take
little
a
while.
testing day into our calculations at all.
Yeah. Well, we
Uh-uh.
didn't know what it was going to do. So because we didn't build it. So that's why we needed to go to testing.
So did you mix fuel?
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Okay.
We actually we didn't have an apex seal problem. We just had lost one.
We had a problem.
It just
no, it's-
cooked.
we think it is an O-ring between the rotor housings.
Yep.
It's not the apex seals. It probably with an O-ring, like a head gasket, but not a head gasket because it doesn't have head gaskets.
Yep.
And it never got hot enough to actually register as hot on any of the gauges. Just
Oh, but
we
it
know of.
smelled so bad.
it smelled awful.
Oh, so
I
bad.
think it sat too long. I think it just dry rotted out the seals.
Oh, so bad.
This is a great transition into the Audi.
Okay.
So-
All
go for it.
let's
Let's
hear about
go.
the Audi.
So I bought this Audi. And clean car. Well, actually, it was filthy, but it was clean underneath the filth. So got it cleaned up and everything and drove it, and it drives great, runs good. The AC works sometimes. I'm like, nice. It's got
In South
heated
Carolina,
seats.
not important.
Well, I was in Tennessee at the time, and it was
Same.
closer to winter, so AC didn't matter as much. But when it would rain, you would kick it on, and sometimes it'd be cooler, sometimes it wouldn't be. Everything. Temperature always looked great on the car. All this. Drove it around for a year and a half, 2 years. Then I'm sitting in a fast food line one day, and it's a very, very long fast food line. And I'm sitting there for like 25 minutes. Next thing you know, I start seeing
Not real
coolant
fast anymore.
You're like,
coming
no,
out
no,
from under
no.
the car. And I'm looking, I'm like, the temp gauge says it's fine. Temp gauge is like down near cold. I'm like, So just started happening just as I was getting my food, started driving. It went away. Car runs great, not a problem. Get to the shop. So pull into the race shop and I look at it. It's not hot. It's not anything. So I open the hood, look under the hood, and you can see where the coolant had boiled over. I'm like, So that's when the diagnosis started. I thought there was an air conditioning problem, and I thought there was a hard start problem because the car was really hard to start most days. And started looking and come to realize that my fans weren't coming on, even with the AC. So the only time the AC felt cool was when you were moving. And as long as the car was driving, it was staying nice and cool. Now, so fan control module fixes that. Happened to fix the AC too, and starts cooling the engine. But there was one other problem. The coolant temperature sensor at the back of the motor was bad. And it was actually telling the car that it was a below zero temp, which was preventing the fans from kicking on to cool the engine. And it was sending the wrong temperature signals to the ECU, which was causing the hard start problem. So replace the fan control module, the temperature coolant sensor, and all of the problems with the car were fixed. AC, coolant loss, the whole, I mean, just all of it.
You know it's a German car when the outside temperature sensor causes it to not start well.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Although in high school, I dealt with a 77 Triumph Spitfire 1500. And that was, if you took a screw out of the dashboard, it would stop. That's the difference between a British car and a German car.
It's proper grounding.
It's what exactly? One of
You
them
took the screw out, lost the ground.
One, you just mess with anything on the body, the whole British car stops. German car, it has to actually have a wire connected to it, and then the whole car stops.
Yeah.
Well, so what was your original intention for this vehicle? Was this going to be
Just a fun driver?
Toy.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's V6 all-wheel drive.
for all
Obviously,
the snow that you get there?
we do get quite a bit in here. Well, quite a bit for us.
Quite a
from,
bit.
yeah.
Yes.
Compared to Charleston, we get like 3 blizzards a year here, which means it's dusted.
Yeah, exactly.
So we've had up to probably a foot here. Christmas 2 years ago, I think we had close to a foot, probably 9-10 inches.
Wow.
It's not much here. But the more important thing was just a fun 3-pedal car to drive.
Yeah.
So because there's the Tow Pig, my Tundra, there's the Datsun, which I don't drive it much.
What kind of, I didn't know you had a Datsun. What kind of Datsun do you have?
I've got a 77 Datsun 280Z with 69,000 miles on it.
Oh.
It's pretty nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
I
been
get
to
that.
it's been to 2 races. It's been to 1 Lemons race. I know. I drove it.
Yeah.
I
But
saw it
not
at
one I was
Barber.
at, I guess.
I drove it to Barber once.
Yep.
And then I drove it to Road Atlanta for a vintage event once. So
Very nice. Very nice.
It's good. It's a good looking car.
I approve.
Absolutely.
it was the first year with the 5-speed manual and the mechanical fuel injection, which made it cool. Mine has both. It's great until one of the little like 1-inch rubber hoses splits in that mechanical fuel injection, where there's like 38 of those little 1-inch hoses, and big meat paws, little itty bitty hoses down inside of a bunch of stuff is really hard to fix. And right now the fuel sprays directly out of this little split hose onto the race header. So
I thought you were going to say at your face, which
Yeah.
it
I would
seems pretty
rather
bad
that
too.
happen.
Equally
Oh, I guess-
disturbing.
I
but
guess so.
It's not going to kill you or destroy
I
the
suppose.
car.
I suppose.
So I've got to get that fixed so we can get that one back on the road. But
Nice.
yeah. But I just wanted a 3-pedal car to drive more. So
Yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah, I get it.
All right. You guys have any questions? I've been hogging all the questions.
Yeah, well-
here. I apologize.
All right, so I want to go back to feeding the paddock, because there's a lot of ways that you guys were setting the standard. You were the class act of how to do this, really. And I know we've learned a lot from big, running the potlucks and stuff from you. So that's why I want to say, like, all right, what do people need to do to, and let's not say host these, because hosting is a whole different thing. But when you're the one hosting it, really, how do people be good attendees to a large feast event like this?
well, that's multifaceted question. I'd like to take it back first to kind of the good attendees. One is, it comes back to communication. When there's posts on Facebook or on the forums, that antique way we used to communicate, but all of those different places, respond, let others know what you're bringing. So, I think we had one year where we had like 11 different potato salads show up.
Always
Yeah.
so much freaking potato salad.
Yes. And I mentioned that in my comment the next year. I was like, so let's communicate so we don't end up with 11 potato salads. So we got 11 coleslaws.
It's legit. We're still doing this.
Yes.
Come on.
So a good attendee would communicate. And when you're bringing a side to share, bring a side more than for one person. The single serving thing you get from KFC is probably not sufficient to bring as your shareable side. But honestly,
this much potato salad
yes.
or this much mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
Smithers, the
Okay.
Cheetos, please.
Okay.
Yes. Now, you laugh, but we had some people bring boxes of those little snack bags of chips. And those are great
As long as
because
they're whole boxes and not just a bag.
yes.
Because then you can walk away with them,
Yeah.
and they're not, your plate is at the angle of repose, and you walk. Yes, that.
Yes. Oh, nice. I'm going to send you my address.
Jeff just showed us the largest box of single serving.
42 bags of Oots chips.
Yes.
And it's filled with yarn. I'm actually looking for something for the show. So
But so the chips were also great for the late night people who show up, because then as more so the sides have started to dwindle or gone away, their grazing can still happen. And I like
this
the-
idea.
I like the really late night grazing to happen in a to-go fashion.
get the hell out of my paddock. The party was 2 hours ago.
That's
So-
that's a problem.
First year of our paddock party, we set it up kind of as a long line going between, through the middle of the paddock, all the tables on one side, out the back end. Well, the out the back end part is what people struggled with. So they would kind of meander in
Too much
and then
cheese.
sit down. Well, there was seating, there was coolers full of all of our water for the next race day. There was our beer for that night. There was all of those things. And by 2 a.m., we had lots of people, even some sleeping in our paddock at that point. And no water for the next day, no beer for the next day. We got pretty much wiped out. So we had to learn how to strategize and lay out things a little differently.
Yeah.
But when they put the food out there, stay out there. That's a good attendee.
Crowd control. Got it.
Mhm.
Yes, crowd control. We tend to set up our tents and our tables in order to help encourage that now.
Yeah. You do a good job of that now.
Yeah.
In and
So-
out.
Yep.
Circle, like, or a half circle.
Exactly.
Come this way, go that way. Yep.
The other important thing about the half circle is the biggest reason we still do this, and that is the donations. So the biggest reason we're still doing these cooking events and everything, other than we're afraid people will throw hard objects at us if we stop, is to help raise money for the charities. We really enjoy it. We really enjoy raising the money for, we've only ever done it with Lemons of Love. That's who's happened to be the sponsor at all of our events. And Jill is amazing. So we like getting with Lemons of Love and raising a bunch of money. And even at the most recent event, where they auctioned off that Lincoln, the lowballers did.
The links, the
Yes,
tiny little Lincoln.
The missing link.
That's it. The missing
Yeah.
link. Thank you.
So they were auctioning that off, and the guy auctioning that off and I actually bet to see who could raise the most charitable money, either the car or the barbecue. And then our bet also went to charity, but it was great to do that and then kind of pump it up and get the crowd going. And of course the barbecue won. I mean, it was a Lincoln. So it was a good time, but you know, that's the real reason.
It was a pretty cool Lincoln,
Yeah.
but you know,
But
Way
everyone
cool.
wants butts. Not everyone wants.
yes, everyone wants to
Lincoln.
taste your butt.
To
let me
be
just
fair, I got their money before they auctioned off. They donated for the barbecue before the car was available.
we should give a shout out to Lemons of Love. If you don't know who they are, you can find them at lemonsoflove.org. We'll put that link in our show note. But they raise money, and they even didn't they give away a Miata? They have like a Miata giveaway like once a year.
About every year.
But yeah, a race prepped like spec Miata. And they do care packages for people with cancer. It's not children, right? It's for adults and children, correct?
Yes, it's just chemotherapy patients in general. And then they do some other raffles during the year, like they raffle off a Rolex watch every year, and they do some other things to raise money. But great organization, really good people, and they turn it all back around to the community, which is great. So when you donate at a track, they actually deliver care packages to your local hospitals, not hospitals everywhere else. I mean, they do that too, but
Oh, it's nice to keep some of the money local to wherever you are. That's great.
exactly.
I'll share it on the regular screen. Go on. So you obviously do it for the donations.
Yes. And that's the fun part. And the other part is just to bring racers together and do a little bit of bench racing, or at least that's what we call it. Get everybody together, get them telling stories, let them put the day behind them. You know, stop working on your car for a little bit, stop being angry at the jerk in the BMW who dive bombed you, or the jerk in the BMW that hit you, or the jerk in the BMW that did something else bad. But it's really about just getting everybody together and letting everybody socialize, chat, come together as kind of our unique Lemons race group.
And I put on the screen for those of you who are watching on YouTube some of the Lemons of Love care packages. So tote bags and things for people going through chemo. There's a veterans chemo care package. So yeah, check that out. Donate if you can.
Absolutely. All right. So now we know how to be nice. You go bring stuff
Good
after
sides.
communicating.
Lots of sides that you
Right.
signed up for.
Various sides.
Various sides.
Don't hang out in the person's paddock after you leave, or right over. You got to
Mhm,
move along enough. All right, good. Donate money to the charity so they can buy stuff. Chrissy,
I need to add to one of these things. Bring a spoon or a fork, or if your pie, you have a whole sheet cake. How is someone going to eat and cut that? Right?
Oh, you should see this. So there will be races where I leave with no spoons,
Sure.
no serving spoons.
Yes.
And there are other races where I come back with like 48 extra pieces of Tupperware and sheet pans and 38 spoons.
Absolutely.
The second half of that is come back and get your plate.
Right. So yeah, there you go. But I have extras. I always bring extras. You can go to the dollar store and get the crappy ones that break halfway through. Like I do this, but it's really great if you just bring a spoon, because I always just have
It
a
is.
box of them at the end. And especially when you just have a little bit of foresight, or like you go to Costco and you get a pie, like a big ass pie. And you're like, this is awesome. You are very nice. How is one going to serve this?
Scoop the pie.
Right. With your tiny plastic spoon. How is that
Exactly.
going to work? So just that extra little bit of forethought. That's my additional. And the funny and sad thing is that I must have said everything that you said 50 times,
Oh yeah.
and you still end up with 6 vats of potato salad.
Yes.
Yes.
Now here's another one. if you're bringing food that needs to be cooked or prepared, bring it cooked or prepared. Do not show up with uncooked food and say, here you go. You need to cook this for 4 hours so it can be served. Or here you go. Here's a bag of
And they
flour and
usually show
3
up
eggs. Make a cake.
About 20 minutes before the event. Here,
Yeah.
this needs to be cooked
Or
for 4 hours.
it's on, or they bring it on a sterno, like they bring it
Yes.
like your potato that you might have cooked at noon or something, and they say here, and they put the little tiny sterno, which table doesn't usually have that much room. Yeah, all these things just a little bit extra, and just like we're giving you free food, just bring a freaking pan of
Side
something.
dish,
Come
yes.
on.
And another thing I'd like to point out is, and this is not a big deal, but bring the food at the time of the barbecue. Bringing it the day before,
That's
the morning
key.
of, things like that. We're also out there racing cars. So,
Are
and
you?
that's the primary
What?
reason we're there. And
Is it
it's hard to
really,
believe
though, now?
sometimes as we
Is
give
it?
away our stints because we're cooking. But yeah, it's a social event, but we try and race car, and in order to do so, we can't be, messing with the other stuff all day long, every day.
All day. Yep. Yes. I take heed. Listen, maybe they'll listen to you and not me. That would be great, because it's I usually add also in there, don't bring a half-eaten pizza, for which people now bring pizzas because I tell them
'Cause
not
they're
to.
yes. You're doing it on purpose now.
But I know, but still, I'm like, come on. Or like a half bag of chips that you've obviously eaten on your way over, things like that. Just
it's like the 5-pack,
Just remember,
it's
it's
a 5-pack
the-
of beer to your house.
Yeah.
yes.
That is my favorite denomination of beer to receive, is the 5-pack.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want them to bring a 6-pack and then drink half with me.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's a nice thought.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, it's things that a lot of people, because they haven't hosted, don't necessarily think about, like food storage and stuff like that at the track is a premium. So having everybody bring the food early and stuff is hard to do. Oftentimes there are not a bunch of electrical outlets on the tables and such
Yeah.
available
None.
to plug in all
Yeah,
the
when
crock
everyone
pots
brings
and
18
everything
crock
else.
pots, yeah.
Especially
we
at
tell them no.
CMP. Then the
Yes.
fire
Yes.
ants come
They're-
out. Yeah.
And there are literally 3 outlets, and they're all in the bathroom or
We have
something.
mentioned this about CMP in the past. There's only 12 electrons in the paddock.
Oh, in the whole
and you
place.
have to share.
I will say they have upgraded the power at
Oh.
I
CMP.
have not been there in a long time, so I
Yeah,
don't know.
there are even air conditioners in the bathrooms now.
Oh.
They've
So now
made
you
some
just
progress.
hang out in the bathroom.
We hear the racing surface is no longer 60 grit.
It is not. Actually, the racing surface there's pros and cons in it. The racing surface is much better, much smoother, much fresher, much newer, all those things. Now visual markers, a lot of them are gone. So like in the big carousel, 4, 5, 6, that you always had that separation in the pavement, that little tar stripe that you could follow as your line. Well, that's all gone. So now, while people figure that out and all, it's a little different. And then like the turtle that was on the inside of the kink is pretty muted now. There's not much of a hump there anymore, so you can really get over into that and still hold the track. And I've now been through the kink 4 wide. My previous record was 3 wide.
Wow.
Been through the kink 4 wide. That leaves
Okay.
bite marks in your seat cushion.
Wow.
All hands inside the vehicle while this
Yes.
happens, everyone. Yeah.
I'll never forget the
Best trust
GTO
everybody.
man in his super exclamation point Beetle
Yes.
hitting that kink turtle. I don't know whether he hit the turtle or not, but lift over steered right on the other side of that thing, and I thought he was gonna die. But man, I can't believe that thing not only stayed upright, but just into the grass, spinning like a ballerina, and kept on going.
Yeah, well, that car's extra weighted down by its 13 gallons of oil. when the oil is in the car.
Yeah,
That's what it
exactly.
takes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So
That's great. So you mentioned communication. How do you promote? Because we usually do in the forums or we're posting there, and that's where we're doing our sheets. Any other ways that you found that can tell people about the potluck before the potluck starts, or the barbecue before the barbecue starts?
yeah, so what we've really done is, as we've seen less and less traffic on the forums over the last few years, we began actually obviously putting it on our Facebook pages, cross-posting across to, like the citrus one and the lemons ones and stuff like that, those. And then we've also been reaching out to the lemon staffers themselves, like Nick, and getting him to include a blurb about the barbecue, the potluck, and lemons of love. I usually do a write-up, and then he adds flair, and he will blast that out in an email to all of the racers that are attending the event, and that really kicks up the attendance.
Yep. Yeah, I think the sponsorship has helped. Having one sanctioned event with official, yeah, from them has helped. And so there's not a whole lot of over the years, especially on the East Coast ones we've been to, there's one group that is going to do the meat, and they don't organize the rest of the potluck at all. Basically, they say we're going to have meat, and then you have to go to their paddock, and then we don't, and then they have 85 vats of meat because nobody showed up. But having everything in one place and that organization, I think, has really helped over the last couple of years.
And longevity. A lot of the teams now expect that Kreggers and I are cooking at every event we show up at, even the ones that don't allow us to cook.
Who doesn't allow you to cook?
Ooh, Barber, no open flames unless you're up on like the 38th tier of parking, near.
So they won't even let you use your green eggs.
Nope. So
If
maybe in the future,
gas grills are just not the charcoal, because
gas grills they'll allow. They just don't do any open flame like charcoal or coal or wood. But we're trying to get an exemption for that with the big green eggs next time we go, and maybe just put drip pans, like the gas drip pans, oil drip pans underneath all the eggs, and maybe that'll satisfy them.
Yeah. I think you should line your paddock with hay. I think that would help.
Yeah.
So like make it like a hay ride, so the barbecue sauce will just get like sucked up by the hay. And then
this is a great plan.
It won't get on their tarmac, and it won't stain their beautiful parking lot.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Then
I'm gonna have you plan
paddock and say, hey.
I'm gonna have you plan all of our events, Jeff.
Right.
Chrissy, is that matching your safety professional?
It's so safe. Like, has danger features is what just happened.
Yeah. But the longevity part is people expect us to cook. So a lot of folks come to us on Thursday or Friday, and they're like, hey, what do you need? And I'll say, well, I haven't gotten so many signups for this. And they're like, okay, we'll take care of that. And we get a lot of the people who know us who will actually reach out to us directly and say, hey, are y'all cooking this race? If so, what can we bring? So we do some of that now, which really helps get, away from the 38 quarts of potato salad thing. So that helps. But to throw all that in the mix, we're hoping to actually cook one of your events next year and turn it into a competition. So we have been challenged by one of the New Jersey racing teams to a barbecue cook-off.
I think I know who this is.
Yes. And what the goal would be is the winner of the cook-off would be whoever raised the most money.
Oh,
So
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Each get a bucket, and let's see where the money goes in the bucket. Okay.
Yes. And you're only allowed to count after I've counted, so I can add money if I need to. Same.
You shouldn't give away your cheating secrets on the internet here.
Man,
but
they don't listen to this, do they?
I don't know.
Nobody listens to this.
That's true.
Chrissy's mom listens. That's all.
It's true. Kurt usually does too. Not this one. He's not gonna. You don't listen to your own episode.
It's.
I am.
As someone who actually listens to the episodes most of the time, it's a little hard to listen for the second and third time. So
I actually listened to the first episode before it got aired.
You did. Yeah,
Wow.
you guys were patient test runs.
Yeah.
It's like, well, we did this thing.
I believe you were also the first person to deliver a listener feedback that we read on the air that was about the Twinkies.
Oh, yeah. And by the way, we all still have Mental's address saved, and we just randomly every few months might ship a box of Twinkies.
It's funny.
Oh boy.
Oh.
So
But
he's due for more.
he probably will listen and probably force his wife to listen. So I'll just say, "Hi Vicky, I'm sorry you have to listen to us."
Yeah.
Tell
she's
Mental
over it.
how much better the show is without him.
Oh.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah.
Well, we are on
All right,
schedule. That's
Are
what's
we going to
amazing.
talk only
So-
about barbecue, or can I ask some car questions?
Let's
Yeah,
talk about
go for it, go
cars.
for it. Yeah.
So you currently are racing the Honda. You already mentioned that. You already mentioned building the RX-7. We never said, like, what motor are you running in the Del Sol? Are you, or Slow? Excuse me.
Oh,
And
stock motor, of course.
so, well, which we don't know what version of the Del Slow it is. They
What?
had them
What?
in SI, didn't they?
Oh, where's Craigers when I need him? What was Chris? What was the stock motor in that car?
It depends on which one it was. Was it a D something?
It was a D.
Oh, they're on a D. you're on a D
D16.
series.
It depends on if
okay,
it was
we're
the
not.
SI or not. But yeah,
Yeah.
We're
It's
not.
not
So
like the motor
actually,
you have in there is shitty in any way, shape, or form. It's really not.
Okay,
Well,
so
it's-
it is a
yeah.
Bones stock Del Sol.
no,
No.
that's just what we tell our listeners.
Got it. I'm just trying to figure out because
It's
we
actually
have talked openly about RK swap.
so. This one's actually running a B18B. It's a B18B tsunami recovered motor. So it was one of the ones that got flooded over in Japan. So we bought it dirt cheap and had to rebuild it in the shop. The flows backwards for what we needed, obviously, in the heads. We're actually running a B18B1 head, but it's a B18B block. So it's a JDM block with a US model head.
I'm
and
staring at
Craigers-
Chris to try and decide if that's really impressive or not.
Can
Yeah,
you
not really.
disseminate this
It's
for
fine.
us?
So
It's
it's not out of the car yet, but that motor went 15, 16 races is in the car
That's
that
a
long.
good amount.
it is. That's a good
Yeah,
run.
it's a good amount.
But we've been losing. It's still running, but we've been slowly losing a little compression and stuff like that. So I think I've got Craig tucked into it. We're going to go ahead and pull the motor and do a swap on it. We've got another motor that's not a B18 sitting in the shop. It's also not a K. But there might be a B20 sitting in the shop
Nothing
that
wrong
may be
with
going in the car.
A little more
So-
torque. That's good.
Yeah,
little more torque.
B18 to a B20 is not that drastic of a swap.
It's
It's like
not. And
160 horsepower. It's like that's fine.
yeah, and I mean, until Craig and I lose 160 pounds, that difference doesn't really make much difference. So
I'll be honest. The horsepower was great. I'm not going to complain about the horsepower of the motors that Chris built. What was in the transmission was the real magic.
we're
I'm
gonna
just
see
going
if
to leave it there.
we're gonna see if our new transmission runs a little better than our old one.
Yeah, that
So,
was the key.
There's some really good fluid that I can tell you about that'll do a nice job to make sure that is appropriate power delivery to both axles. That's why it's a special fluid. It does a
Hold on,
nice
I'm gonna
job.
have to sneeze. Coffee, quaif. What? I
It
don't
wasn't.
know.
It wasn't one of those actually.
Was
No.
it?
No,
Mm-mm.
not no, not quite.
Is it
Yep.
the
That's the
the
our old
liquid
one, not the
the-
current one.
the it's LSD is the acronym. I can't. It's liquids something.
Death. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the stuff.
I just want to know how do you spell coffee? Quite. How do you?
Yeah.
QUAIFFE.
There it is.
Uh-huh.
So,
Uh-huh.
but
I
we'll
think.
see how it all turns out. We'll see if it gets in the car. We've got to take it easy on the car. The car doesn't have many more collisions left in it.
Oh, we understand
Yeah,
that.
So-
we
Yep.
totally get that.
So we've
Mhm.
either got to keep driving careful and staying clean and staying out of folks' ways, or we need to hurry up and finish the RX-8.
Yeah.
Those
Watch
are our
out for
options.
for errant wheels on track. That's
Oh,
problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that and BMWs. dive bombing you.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah, well, BMW should be banned anyway. I mean, we've had that discussion pretty much every week. So
I believe there's a sticker on our car that says God hates E30s.
nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
Excellent.
I was gonna say your car is not old enough to have a banned E30s.
I was gonna say if you
OG.
said you had that, I was like, wow,
That was a long time ago.
that was a long
I
time
still
ago.
have the art. We could make more of those.
Yeah, but also we got to
The
change to
E36s now.
46,
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, right. 'cause
E3/4
Right.
or star, maybe 3/4 asterisk. I don't know.
Asterisk. Right.
Yeah.
Put the wild on it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. I love that.
So
All right.
now
so
I've been
now-
talking crap about all these BMWs, and I actually own a BMW as well.
We've all owned them.
Yep.
So I have a 1972 BMW 2002
Oh, sorry.
that we built into a race car. So it's proper M10 built, making about 147 horsepower in a car that weighs 1,600-ish pounds.
Yeah.
So
Cool. That's
Yeah.
That I know that took a long time though. I know that was a long ongoing project. For
That
you.
is not
Yes.
a Lemons
It's-
vehicle of any shape or form. I assume.
no. That one still has it's been driven now, but it still has yet to turn its first lap in anger. It needs a few more finishing touches, as it seems to always need a few more finishing touches, but they're building a racetrack near us here in Knoxville. It'll be less than an hour away from us. So there's going to be some new focus on getting that car ready so we can go drive this road course pretty much every week.
That would be
That'd be great.
awesome.
Is
We
there
almost-
like a membership where you like have a, or is it just they'll have a lot of events and you'll attend a lot of events?
We're thinking membership and probably garage.
Ooh,
Nice.
Oh,
Look at you.
that's I was so
Hey,
jelly.
baller.
There's a
Right.
few of us that, I mean, there's the racing population here in Knoxville is incredible, and the car culture here is incredible. But we're thinking 3 or 4 Lemons type people going in together on a garage and each having our own membership, so we can do things and share some
Great.
space and all.
yeah, that's fantastic.
All right.
All right. What else do we need to cover with good old Curt here?
What else? You tell us, Curt. Anything else you want to go through, or are we wrapping it up?
Do we miss
don't
anything?
know.
What do you gunsmith?
Oh, a little bit of everything. Most recently, the other night, I was putting in a new trigger into one of my handguns. But it's mostly minor modification stuff to weapons I'm either using in competition or just because I want to.
Yeah, I have a friend who was a certified smith for both Glock and SIG, and he is tells me all these wonderful things about his guns, and I'm like, that's great. I can't afford
Yeah.
any of them, so
I have a fairly extensive collection. And I enjoy them, but Humps could probably tell you all of the ins and outs about, that whole user experience. Well, it's not just in cars. It tends to bleed over into all aspects of our lives, including, firearms and things like that. So
yeah, I totally get it. All right. Does anyone has anything else? Do you have any social media you want to pimp? Do you have a website? I mean, we're gonna put the Lemons of Love up there.
yes, no, I mean, there is a terminally confused Facebook group, but I'm not sure what it is. I think Kreger's mom might manage it. I don't know. So I'm not sure. I don't think it's anything that needs to be listed.
Got it. All right. Do we know what's going on with the next segment? There's a potential, but I also brought a potential. So do we want to do?
You've got a better one.
I like
I'm not prepared
yours,
to. I'm not prepared to
so-
talk about it. It's not mine. It's
All right,
Chrissy's,
all
I
right,
think,
all
or
right. So
someone
we'll
else's.
do mine. This is Curtis. You'll like this because it has to do with things you can barbecue. This is called goat or just one goat. Okay. Are you familiar with the just one goat joke?
Oh,
Sure
yes.
You are. Retired military man has heard the just one goat.
Yeah. Not a bridge builder.
Exactly. You're exactly right. How do we feel about people who drive cars on the street who use race car livery, even if that race car livery is fantastic?
It
I
depends
want
on
a
how
general
well
opinion, then I'm showing you a picture. Just a
how
second.
well it's pulled off. I think.
Can you explain exactly what you're looking for?
I just want to say, like, if you drive by a car and it's like fully painted orange and blue Gulf, or maybe
Oh, okay. It has to be like a famous livery.
triple blue, like Martini Racing Scheme, or maybe somebody's really cool and it's the Mazda art with the triangles.
On
Like
the way home from the Cape, day before yesterday, no, was that yesterday?
That was yesterday.
Yesterday, there was a Tesla Model 3
okay,
that had it was the back logo had been changed to say Tesla Teeny, and then it had Tesla Teeny written on it in several spots and martini stripes, and he's running like Michelin Sport Cup 3, like 40 treadwear tires,
nice.
and it had a wing, and this thing was spotlessly clean. It is
Wow.
obviously never ever seen any motorsports venue.
Oh yeah.
And say I think that guy went a little too far with this. Like if he had just put the stripes on it and done nothing else, really, all right, that's cute. Like I get what you're trying to do, but he took it overboard. That's just an example from yesterday.
Okay. How does anybody else want to chime in on how they feel about race car livery on a street car?
I've seen good and bad, to be honest. But my favorite ever was an old JDM type car, and how they always have the black stickers coming down with all the names of everything behind their front wheels.
Sure.
Except this one had a grocery list, so
Yes,
it was
it's
like
the
milk,
eggs,
eggs,
bacon, yeah,
bread.
And it
bacon.
looks just like the logos for like NOS and
Yes.
Greedy and all those other things.
And that was my favorite ever. If you're gonna drive your daily driver with livery on it, make it fun.
Make it fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Chrissy, you want to chime in before we get to the picture?
There's part of me that feels like if you're going to go that far to put a livery on like that, especially if you're like trying to make it look good, then you obviously have some enthusiasm in motorsports. So I hate to crack on all of it because you've tried, because you understood what it comes from. You're not just sticking Honda logos or Chevy logos on your Cobalt today. I think whatever. It was like a really, things like that you're just like, you're not even trying. So I feel like if you're going to go so far to paint your car with livery on it, then I really want to give you some props.
So what I'm hearing is this could really go either way. You could be the GOAT for a daily drive in that race car livery, or this might just be one GOAT where, you know what, really, you are that jerk off.
But the Tesla Teeny is just he is that jerk off.
But I'm about to show you a picture.
But like if you had a nice light blue Cayman with an orange stripe on it,
and
all right,
that's
cool.
what I'm
Right.
working on with my Veloster.
There's
gonna
a
throw some
fine
orange on it.
line between GOAT and just one GOAT.
Exactly. Which side of the line is this guy? And I will ask Chrissy to explain what she sees.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I see a Sprinter van,
A high top Sprinter van.
a high top Sprinter van that says Mainline Automotive Group. It is Audi, and it is all white. It has blacked out white windows, right? So like you can't see the windows there.
Yeah.
And it has martini stripes on it. So it is white with red and light blue and black stripes on down the
It's light
side.
blue and dark blue, but that's okay.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then one across the top, assuming it goes across the top to the back.
This is a very, in my opinion, this is not overboard martini striping. This is the right amount of martini striping on 87 square feet on the side of a white Sprinter van. That's a really large object that's going down the road here. Is this awesome or is this terrible? GOAT or just one GOAT around the table?
I'm going to chime in and say it's a fine line, but I'm going to say GOAT. I'm going to say goat. I don't think they took it too far to be obnoxious. I think they're advertising a business and they did a pretty good and clean job on it. I think the humorous part is that is obviously a big Mercedes logo in the middle of their martini stripe on the back.
This is true. Yes.
So, but that's the default, Mercedes logo. And then everything else is Audi and their stuff and the martini stripes, obviously. But
And martini stripes did go on Porsches, and they sell Porsches.
Yes.
So, Chrissy, how do you feel on this one?
I think they've done it well. I agree almost word for word with Curtis. They're tastefully done. If you don't know what martini stripes are, it just draws your eyes to it because it's different. If you do know what martini stripes are, you recognize and say, okay, these guys are at least trying to be interested in performance. But it's not wacky, and it's not saying like Vantini. And yeah,
All right.
I know. I think these are tastefully done.
All right. Another goat. Chrissy?
I'm fine with it. I mean, I guess I can't also get like anything just from local knowledge. Anything that says mainline on it means it's just many
frou-frou.
dollars.
Yeah.
So it's very bougie. And so that's where I'm trying to. So I guess knowing what mainline, I mean, the problem is like people in mainline, how many people are you like know this stuff? There's like 5. So, it's fine. It's fine. Like, it's not too much.
What are they doing with this van is who I want to know. Like that's tough.
Well, this
Like,
morning they were driving down the Atlantic City Expressway. So,
like, if
And I
they're
wish I
doing
could see
anything
how
to raise
fast you
support-
were going when you took this
Yeah.
picture.
I
can't-
slowed down to get a good shot.
I'm
of it, so I'll be
sure
honest
you
with you.
did.
Well,
Like,
and if they're going to go this bougie and they do the paint and everything, they really need to talk to their wheels and tire guy.
That's true. But it's like
Not
if
wrong.
I put martini stripes on the Escalade, it's just never going to work. Where like this can work, pending. I don't know.
Or
Well, there
your
we
feelings,
go.
Jeff?
Oh, I liked it, but I'm a sucker for martinis.
You are. That's true. Yes. Thanks for this. This was out of the blue. I like it.
Yep.
Good, I'm glad.
Yeah.
All right. I'm pulling up music, but I have no speaker, so I don't know why I'm even doing it.
Curtis,
Julie-
thanks for being with us
That's what I was
tonight.
going to say. Kurt, thank you,
Yeah.
Curtis. This has been
Happy
wonderful.
to be
Fantastic.
here.
Yeah, we are so glad that Mental has to be stuck at work discussing how to better fight. I don't know what he's doing. I'll be honest with you.
Kangaroos. He's
Kangaroos.
fighting kangaroos. I'm sure it's
I have
kangaroos.
no idea what he's doing. It's something about training. There's a
And
bunch of
he's-
people from all over the country coming to meet him for
And
some
he's got to wear
reason.
like weird work weird hours.
I
and
think he has to like cut his hair and everything. I don't know.
Did he
Is
cut his
gonna
hair?
I don't know. I don't know that for sure.
I
just-
don't think so.
It's like he's back in the military for like 3 weeks. I don't know.
and I'm
Oh,
sure
well.
he's complaining. Oh wait, he's
tax
probably
dollars at work.
listening to this.
It's
Oh
fine.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, Mental will have to write in and tell us exactly what it is that he's doing out there. Do we have any idea what we're doing next week?
No,
No, we always figured it out.
we'll
though.
find something.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
Well, with that, we're
Yep.
going to move to the end of the show. And yes, I'm playing this out of my phone. And thank you for downloading us. And thank you, Curtis, for being with us. We hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Everyone Racers. We also hope you'll join us in the world of driving, racing, and eating Curt's butt, because everyone can be a racer, even you. If you enjoyed this podcast, subscribe. It's totally free. Even if you hated us, give us 5 stars and tell us why. If you have any questions or show ideas, drop a comment on our Facebook page, Everyone Racers, or email us at everyone.racers@gmail.com. You could still text Mental. Ask him what the hell is he doing. 484-243-0455. Find us on Instagram or Twitter at everyone.racers, YouTube or Facebook at Everyone Racers, even Reddit at /E1R. Thanks again, and until next week, keep the shiny side up, especially if you got some mad-ass martini stripes on it, and just keep those wheels down.